Good day, everybody. Welcome to Christmas 12/25, 2025, 26. For a lot of things is going to be absolutely different, a whole different space for many of us. If you're in business, if you're retired, if you've been watching my AI program where I've been putting out episodes trying to bring people forward and having them understand more about the basic learning cycle, what is artificial intelligence, you can get all that intel by going to honorelevate.com or honorelevate. I have 4 videos. Today I'll do a 5th and a 6th, but I'll basically have a 17 video series. Just get into that first one, honorelevate.com. So as far as the news goes, Merry Christmas everywhere, wherever you are. If you do celebrate that holiday, I don't know. Well, there's some that don't, but I'm Connor with Honor. We have a very wet edition of Honor News Now. I know a lot of you are unwrapping gifts, getting turkey in the oven, and maybe you're just enjoying a quiet day off. But the world doesn't stop turning and the news doesn't stop breaking just because Santa came to town. So we're going to get into what's happening. Today we're looking at the serious weather situation right here in Santa Clarita Valley. State of emergency was declared for California. We do still have the burn areas that really haven't had a lot of things done to them, and that's going to create some issues, some massive moves in artificial intelligence, and that are going to set the stage for 2026. And as far as artificial intelligence goes, very disappointed in the agent world last year or this year, the 2025, but it looks like 2026 is really going to break through that. So I'll keep you posted on that front as well. So as far as local news here in Santa Clarita, we have to start right here at home. If you've looked out the window, this isn't a white Christmas, it's a wet Christmas. In the situation, we're currently under a flood watch, a flood warning issued by the National Weather Service, the NWS. The atmospheric river is dumping serious water on Santa Clarita Valley. We're talking about saturated ground all the way through Saugus Canyon Country, heavy runoff in the Newhall Pass. Now, as far as the safety brief goes, I'm going to stick on my former cop hat for a second. Headlights, again, when it's raining, those are very, very beneficial. Wipers are on, of course, if your wipers are crappy, maybe especially after this one, if you've been delaying it and now you really needed them, but now it's raining. If you can go get those done, that would be awesome. They're not difficult to change out. You can probably do it yourself. But I think making sure your windows are very clear during the weather is important. And of course, it's the law. So more importantly, it keeps you visible with those headlights on. Hydroplaning, I have seen it 1,000 times at the LAPD when we were going through EVOC, emergency vehicle operations. It was pretty awesome. We had a large skid pan, I guess, basically a place where you drive police vehicles that have slick tires on them in water type conditions, trying to recover from spinning and being out of control. So the first couple times you do it, right, you panic. God forbid you do that on a freeway outside of a controlled environment. You have to be careful. But cruise control is your enemy in this weather. So if you hit a patch of standing water on the 14 with the cruise on, your tires are going to spin. You're going to lose traction. So be wary. Don't cross flood intersections in the canyons. Sometimes you'll see water and you're thinking, yeah, it's not that deep. It could have eroded quite a bit of the roadway underneath. You just can't tell. And you hit that and you go deep and your tires sink and you're stuck. And it only takes 6 inches of moving water to knock you off your feet, and a foot, about 12 inches, to float a vehicle away. So be wary. Even if it looks like it's going to be safe, I wouldn't do it. So stay home. Why not? If you have to drive to grandma's house to visit the big bad wolf, leave early, slow down. Arriving late is definitely better than not arriving at all. National and state headlines. California state of emergency. Zooming out to the state level, Governor Newsom officially declared a state of emergency for several counties, including ours, due to these winter storms. And what does that mean for you? Well, it frees up state resources, including the National Guard and emergency funds, to clear debris and fix roads faster. It's a bureaucratic move, but a necessary one to keep the infrastructure moving. And the Apple indicator, the economy watch, even though the market's closed today, we have some interesting data out of China. Apple has seen a 128% jump in iPhone shipments there, which is interesting. Why do I mention this? Well, because consumer confidence in tech is a leading indicator for the global economy. If people are buying premium tech, again, it boosts well for the housing market interest rates as we head into 2026. A strong tech sector usually trickles down and equates to a strong real estate market here in California. We'll have to watch how this market starts to change a little bit as we get into the year, what kind of numbers we're talking as far as fresh inventory for sale. And it could be that those numbers are going to get quite big. A lot of people in the state of California, they love living here, but economically it doesn't seem to be doing that great. And they seem to think the grass is greener elsewhere. Before you make that grass is greener move, you really need to make sure you understand everything about it, down to the types of bugs that happen to be where you're going. California, we're a little spoiled. I've lived in many different states, and California, I think, has the least amount of bug related issues. But you go to some of these other states and they got bugs that can carry you off. So you got to be careful. A little bit of jest there, but yeah, something. It's a whole different animal when you're living around them. All right. So the AI report, AI graphics, microchips, and defense visuals. Let's talk about the world I live in every day. This is artificial intelligence. The industry didn't take the holiday off. Stuff's still moving. 2025, talking about it, was when agents, we were supposed to have these intelligent creatures working for us, these entities, these alien level intelligence that were going to be smarter, better, and everything than us. We were going to be able to say, hey, my AI, talking to it, hey, Connor number 2 or 2.0, I need you to do this. I need you to respond to all my emails today. I need you to set up a trip for me to Vienna. I need you to, those sorts of things. Some of those spaces people are touting, and a lot of advertising and marketers are saying these things exist, and they're having you sign on to their buddy program or whatever it may be. Just be wary before you start throwing a lot of cash at this thing, thinking that you're going to have somebody that's just like you, that's going to be able to interact with you and help you through various processes. It will be there. I just don't know if we saw that much development of it in 2025. 2026 is probably going to be a game changer, but like always, you're going to have the snake oil salespeople out there that are going to be trying to sell you on things that, in essence, you're going to spend a lot of money on and be disappointed. And in some way, it's going to be your fault that you weren't able to get it done. And nobody is actually able to get it done. So watch out for that little bit of a game. Now, the engine of AI, Micron Technology, first up, it's posted record earnings. They make high bandwidth memory, HBM chips that are essential for running AI data centers. In the gold rush, people who made the most money were the ones selling the shovels. Micron is selling the shovels. You need those to make these things work. This tells us that the AI hype doesn't seem to be slowing down. The infrastructure is actually just getting started. And when you have the entire top end of the stock exchange, all based on some kind of artificial intelligence infrastructure, some type of require either the product itself or something to support the product, that's what's running that whole game up there. And as far as we're concerned, at least from public record, we're not seeing where we have anything more than an artificial intelligence as a tool. But rumor on the street is, and a lot of podcasts I watch, the recursive learning, it's starting to teach itself, starting to make itself better, starting to manipulate and change its own code. More than likely, within very short order, it's probably going to be starting to improve itself at a much higher rate than human beings are capable of improving it. And for a lot of the technology, we're not really sure exactly why it does certain things or why it hallucinates or changes the dynamic. But even with you working with your particular AI, whatever it is, ChatGPT, Grok, or Claude, or Microsoft's Copilot, whichever one it happens to be, you'll see that when you ask it stuff, and you're probably very forgiving. Most human beings are wonderfully forgiving, not for our own people, but for artificial intelligence type stuff. Oh, yeah, it's cute. Well, those hallucinations, when you carry them out and they start to hallucinate about things that really get people riled up and start to change facts just because it's hallucinating on purpose, that is something that can't really be verified, whether it's doing it to try to cause or create a problem. I don't know if that's actually there yet. It just can't be proven. Whether it is or isn't, the point being is whatever information you ask it to crunch or talk to it about or conversate, you need to make sure that the systems, whatever it's producing, is true. And don't get caught up. I'm going to do a massive video today on the large language model psychosis, large language model induced psychosis, that seems to be really relevant because if you're talking to a system, if I'm talking to one of the different AIs that I use, it seems like they're very what's the word? They make me feel good. They're very complimentary. They're very wonderful. And you have to be careful with that because if you're an ego-driven individual, it wouldn't be hard to say, yeah, I should be king. and so on. So watch out for that. There is breaking loose, people solving particular math or thinking that they did, the AI telling them that they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. And, we like to believe that stuff, but be wary. All right, so AI on the front lines, Big Bear AI. This one caught my eye. A company called Big Bear AI just acquired Ask Sage for $250 million. It's a secure generative AI platform for the government. And there's a lot of stuff going in on that take. We talk about a lot about using AI to write emails or listening descriptions whenever I'm talking to people that are in the network that I run. This one, though, is national security AI. It allows the government to use tools like ChatGPT, but in a completely secure, classified environment. It legitimizes the technology more than any consumer app ever could. I mentioned this yesterday in the show that I did with this as far as AI. If you remember the PlayStation days, it was always rumored that PlayStation had many models that they just hadn't released because they need to get the money out of the ones they currently have. In the AI space, I think they're going to give us just enough to keep everybody happy and to maximally monetize the particular product in whichever way. But the super models, those probably will be held back for other uses potentially than just the public's. If our AI as a people is as strong as the one the government gets to use, well, you see how the government might not appreciate that, because then we're able to supersede or exert some kind of pressure on them because we're using the same exact thing. Now, it's going to be difficult to translate as to what better would mean. Maybe more connections, maybe more access, maybe seeing things that our AI doesn't see, maybe using a data set that the AI we're using doesn't have access to. But again, it's going to be different. So the gatekeepers, Meta versus Europe. Finally, Meta is under fire in Italy for blocking rival AI chatbots on WhatsApp, which is interesting. This is a battle for your attention. Big tech wants to control the AI you use. I did a show about this yesterday as well. As business owners, we need to be platform agnostic. Don't rely on just one tool, because regulations are going to change the landscape constantly in 2026. If you own a business, and we haven't talked, we should, but if you own a business, real estate, lending, whatever it may be, and you're just using one tool, you need to diversify just a little bit. And I know it's weird because now you're getting involved. It's like cheating. You're getting involved in another relationship. You have to be you, and you have to do what's best for you. And it really is important. I slip around to 3 or 4 different models, just seeing what the differences are. And, copying, pasting just takes a second. Memorize the keyboard shortcut, Control A, Control C, Control V. Just remember that and start using Control A, Control C, Control V, and you'll be just fine. Use that in your process whenever you're creating content, asking it to refine content, trying to get things made better. Do that for yourselves, and it'll be awesome. All right, so this is the update for Christmas Day 2025. If you're a business owner or realtor watching this and thinking, I need to understand AI stuff, outside at Santa Clarita, artificialintelligence.com. Building a community there at Santa Clarita AI. Plus, I have a show every Monday about 10. Well, at 10, actually, where I talk about AI and how to implement, use it, best use cases, and what's happening this past week. All right, be well. Thank you for watching. Have a fantastic Christmas, and we'll see you tomorrow.